Yeah, okay, time to live free. Plenty goals I'm achieving. Some real life topics and talking financial freedom. Mindset, soul and love, everything in between. This is Freedom Podcast. Tune in, live free. Hey, got my mindset right and I got the drive. Planning one day, no more job, no more 9 to 5. Love, money, mind. Love, money, mind. This is freedom. Tune in, cause it's going down. Woo!
Hi, this is Anna and welcome to another episode of your Freedom Podcast. In this episode, I interview Leslie Davis. Leslie is a 5-time author and her first book, You Can't Eat Love, hit Amazon Top 20 in 2 categories since it was released in January. Leslie is on a mission to help others find their why and to go on any journey of self-discovery, introduce them to their very best friend in the whole wide world, learn to love themselves and live their best life. I can't wait for this interview. Thank you. Leslie, it's great to have you on the show. Really great. Thanks for sharing your time.
Well, Anna, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you. I've been enjoying your podcast and I love listening to the stories that you tell. And I feel like I've really come to know you. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Brilliant. Great stuff. No, it's really, really good to have you here. And as we were just talking, just before we clicked the record button, we were talking about the power of sort of sharing your story or us all sharing our stories, because I think everyone's got a story to tell. Some may be a bit more traumatic than others, but everybody has a story. We've all got different life journeys and we've all got stories to tell. And you may have heard from listening to some of the other podcasts that I have my 3 pillars, which is around freedom in love, which is around self-care and self-love. And I think from reading about you, you'll be able to relate to that one. And also financial freedom, so freedom in money, just because when money was a struggle for me, it's pressure, it's stress, it's worry. And so being now able to have that freedom financially I'm so grateful for that. And then freedom in mind, which mindset is huge, isn't it? I often talk about Fred in the head that gets in our way. But those are the kind of like the 3 pillars that have helped me get equilibrium in my life. And I know you're an author, and you've the book that I really kind of wanted to discuss was you can't eat love. I love this. It's an absolutely awesome title. So I really want you to kind of like open up and share how this sort of all came about and what you do and how you can help people.
Well, interestingly enough, it was kind of one of those bottom hitting moments where you don't think you have to make a decision. You're either going to continue going in the direction that you're going, or you're going to get control of your life. It's kind of like what you ended up doing when you made the decision to get out of the relationship. You drew a line in the sand and you said, okay, this is the end. I am not going to keep going this direction. I'm going to do something else. And that was kind of where I hit. And it was a consequence of losing a relationship with my oldest son. And I felt like I was losing myself also during all that time. I had lost myself. And so when I hit that bottom and just like I can just imagine the choices that you had to make, because you had children, you had to worry about finances, you had to worry about a roof over your head and those kinds of things. While I didn't have to worry as much about the finances and the roof over my head, I had to worry about being able to take my next breath. And so I made a decision that I was going to get healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Right, yeah.
And if I would have known how hard the work was going to be, I don't know that I would have gone on the journey. But having said that, I'm grateful that I went on the journey, but I'm also incredibly grateful that I had the insight to get really crystal clear on why I was going on the journey. So just like you knew you needed to do something to get out to save your life. I knew that I needed to do these things to save my life, because I wasn't ready to quit being on the face of the earth. And so I learned, I learned, what to eat, how to eat. I learned the things that you should be taught as a child with regard to food. But more importantly, I started on the journey of learning to love myself, because
Yeah.
I didn't think I had any value. I thought that I was unlovable. I thought that I was worthless. I thought all of these negative thoughts that so many other people think. And it's not that they came to me by myself. It's, what I had been hearing from the rest of the world and from other people as I grew up. So I went on that journey to learn to love myself. And as a consequence of that, I was able to drop almost 100 pounds because I was no longer
Wow.
looking for my drug of choice.
Yeah.
I was no longer looking for something to stop the pain, because that's really what it was. I was hiding from pain or trying to stop the pain, and not so much physical pain like you fall down and cut your knee or something, but the internal pain of not loving myself.
So what the wake up call to make these changes? Because I think that there's always that kind of wake up call, isn't there? Mine was my son running down the stairs, and those really tiny bouncy balls. He threw that at my ex's head because there was a big row and drama going on, and he was only 7 at the time, and it was to distract his dad. And it was like, that was, even though I knew, it was just like, that was the light bulb moment. I was like, how can I have like a 7-year-old trying to save me? This is not right. That was sort of like my wake up, really. Because I'm just thinking that people that could be listening to this who are feeling like you were feeling, worthless, not, problems with loving themselves and self-love, unhealthy weight problems, things like that. What was that kind of wake up for you? That, I know you mentioned your son, actually, didn't you?
Yes, it was my son, but it was a culmination of a number of things. And just like, you mentioned your son throwing the ball, that probably was a culmination of a number of things. And he felt at that moment that that was all that he could do. That was within his power. So, for the people who are listening, if there's a moment that you've had, or it's going to happen soon, if there's a moment that you're like, oh, wait, I can do something different, don't wait until you are absolutely at the rock bottom where you think, and you're doing what I was doing, which was asking God not to let me wake up because I just didn't want to endure the pain of another day. Don't wait for that moment. If something is tickling your mind that this is where I am, I'm going to say to you, don't wait till your son is throwing a ball at somebody. Don't wait until you're asking God not to let you wake up for another day. Stop and do something now.
Yeah.
Because that is your wake up call now. It's one of my favorite stories is it involves a flood, where there's a flood coming. They send warning and all this, and they send a cop car around to make sure that everybody is, out of the town. Then they send a boat because the water is rising, and then they send a helicopter. And the guy ends up, drowning because he keeps saying, well, God's going to save me. And he arrives, in front of God and says, what happened? And God says, I sent you a car, I sent you a boat, and I sent you a helicopter. What more do you want? And so I'm saying to the people who are listening, here's the car and the boat. Let's not wait for the helicopter.
Absolutely, yeah. And so are there any kind of first steps that people can take? Because obviously it is a difficult journey, isn't it? Is there any resources or any help that you can guide them to? I know obviously you've got the book, we're going to come to that.
Well, the first thing that I would suggest that they do, which was not one of the first things that I did, but retrospectively, I wish I would have had someone say it to me. And I do have on my website, I have this card, but go to the store or design your own card, or find something, that you think is really pretty, and start writing a letter to your very best friend in the whole wide world, which is yourself. And tell your very best friend in the whole wide world how proud you are of them, how amazing they are, how incredible they are, and how much you love them and care about them, and start pointing out all of the things that are just amazing about your very best friend in the whole wide world, which is yourself. And then once you finish writing that, take a deep breath and read it as if your very, very best friend in the whole wide world had just handed you that card.
Yeah.
And said, you know what? I love you. And let me tell you how much.
Yeah, that's really good. I love that. That's a really good thing and a really good exercise for people to do. Really good. It reminds me of like, it's different, but I don't know if you've ever read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits.
Mm-hmm.
When he does the funeral, begin with the end in mind, and does the whole funeral thing, like imagining on your funeral what people are standing up and saying about you. And it helps you kind of make sure that you do the things that you want to do in your life. How it makes you reflect that if, you know, you passed away now, what people would say, and all those things that you want to do before you get there type of thing. And it's that whole begin with the end in mind. But yeah, I really like that. So tell us about the book then, because I know, in fact, you've got a few books, but you can't eat love. It sounds to me that it's around self-love. And maybe the analogy of also losing weight and getting healthy, but tell us about it.
Well, the book, You Can't Eat Love, is about learning to love yourself and changing your relationship with food. And I had a counselor read it before I published. And she said, you know, this could be called You Can't Drink Love, You Can't Drug Love, You Can't whatever, because it's really not about dieting. It's about learning to love yourself. And what I wrote about is I wrote to the me that I used to be from the me that I am now, and talked about the different things that I learned and the skills that I built and the discoveries that I made on the journey to loving myself. So I talk about, actually what I open with is eating chocolate pie. I mean, this was a true event. I made a chocolate pie to honor the memory of my mother, who had died now 37 years ago. And as I was eating this chocolate pie, I was remembering my mother, my grandparents, you know, all these people who had gone before, and all the times and celebrations. And I sat there and I said, I can't eat love. The love is in the memory. The love is not in the food. And it was just really a light bulb moment. So I, at that moment, scratched down what became the first 2 paragraphs of the book. The book wasn't written for a while, but I kept that scratched up piece of paper. So the book is about what I learned in learning to love yourself. So I talk about being on a journey. Almost all of us drive on roads that get traffic jams on them, right? And what occurred to me is when we get on these freeways and we hit a traffic jam, we do not park our cars, we don't get out, and we don't walk home, right? We sit there, we change the channel on the radio, we call a friend, we do something while we're stuck in this traffic jam or we're creeping along. The last thing we do, in fact, the thing that we do not do, is we don't park the car, we don't get out, and we don't walk home. And so I started applying that to my journey of learning to love myself. And then I started, as a consequence of loving myself, I wanted to be healthier. I wanted to be the best version of me. So I was watching what I was eating, and I was taking better care of myself. Because think about this. Think about the most precious possession you have in your house, other than a person. You take really good care of it. You tell people, you know, don't drop it, don't touch it, you know, whatever. You take very good care of it, right? Well, you are your most precious possession. So you want to make sure that you are doing everything possible so that you, 150 years from now, you know, like that 1,000-year-old Ming vase, are still in pristine condition, right?
Yeah.
So I would tell myself, okay, so I ate a whole bag of potato chips. You know what? That's okay. Let's have a conversation. What was really going on? But I stayed in my car. I didn't park it, and I didn't walk home. Instead, I changed the conversation. I changed the radio. I changed how I was talking to myself.
Yeah.
And when we are tangled up in relationships that are not healthy, when our parents don't know really how to be good parents. They do the best that we can. We're adults, we can now make different choices. But when our parents are doing the very best that they can, but it's not really a healthy situation, our minds are filled with all kinds of lies, but we believe them to be the truth. And then we allow other people to feed those lies, and we believe those to be the truth. So if you think about those as ruts in your road.
Yeah, it's like a lot of subconscious digging, isn't it? Or rewiring in a way.
Yeah. So when you think about those things as being ruts, down a road, you have to rewrite those stories. And that takes work because it's easier to believe the lies.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And so then as we start to rewrite the stories and tell ourselves a different story, then we can start making new ruts in the roads. We can start making progress, and we can start moving forward, and we can start getting stronger in ourselves, because we can start saying, wow, I am an incredible person. I really am an incredible person.
Yeah, no, I love that because I think everybody, even if everybody's got some kind of insecurity,
Exactly.
Other people, people might have, like you're saying, with parents and the history and the journey that you've been on. Everyone's at different levels, but everybody has some kind of insecurity, and it's funny how those insecurities come out. Like, so it may come out that you don't love yourself, but sometimes it comes out as arrogance, doesn't it? Some of the bad traits, and that
yes,
because they're kind of mirroring the opposite thing because they have these insecurities, and so I think it's valuable for anybody to really check in with themselves, because when I talk about self-care to people think, oh, it's about going on a spa weekend every 6 months kind of thing, whereas for me it's a daily thing. I have this whole thing where I have a bath at the end of my evening, and I notice the days where I'm just like maybe a bit tired and I just have a quick shower. I feel I've missed out, because it's more than a bath. I'm not having the bath really to wash. I'm having it to kind of wind down, and self-care really, and having meditation moments and just trying to switch off from the day, because on top of everything else, I'm a single parent and I've got quite a busy life. I'm running my own business, so I think it's important that I try and do a daily walk as well. But recently it's got really cold here in the UK and I keep giving myself excuses, but whether it's a daily walk, whether it's reading your book because it sounds amazing, whether it's reading a book or listening to a podcast or having a bath with candles and oils and all that kind of stuff, it's important to have those moments because you get to know yourself as well. Because for me, self-care feeds into self-love as well, because if you're caring for yourself, you value yourself enough to be able to do it. And also you reflect, Fred in the head's talking to you, your subconscious and all this stuff is going on, that you kind of, it's reinforcing your concerns or your worries, or telling Fred in the head to shut up, like I do all the time. They kind of two things are kind of lead into another for me, because with you talking about sort of health and things like that, I know that when I give myself the excuses of that I'm busy and I starve myself, which I know is really bad, but then I eat a massive meal at the end of the evening, I know that's really bad habits. But the days that I'm starting with a really nice juice and I'm just not consistent enough with it, it's important to make sure that we reflect on the day, what's been great, what we can work on, topping ourselves up with that, loving ourselves for who we really are, because I think sometimes we are a little bit fake with ourselves. There's a quote that I've read that is happiness is what you think, what you say and what you do are in harmony, and we can all relate to that because we've all had moments when we're ambitious about this is what I want to do, and then a year later we've not done it, you know. And but then there's other things around that, and it's important to have that synergy with our thoughts and our actions, and loving ourselves fully within it, really loving everything about us on our, you know, loving ourselves isn't about us being perfect, it's loving our things that we maybe think are not good habits, you know. It's loving every part of ourselves, really. So the book sounds great. Are there ways that you can help people as regards people can buy the book? Is there any other services that you offer? What you kind of tell us what you do, what you're working on right now.
Well, there is the book, and I also have a workbook that goes along with it. But I also do one-on-one coaching with people, and I have a course, and all of that information is on the website youcan'teatlove.com. And then I've got the Facebook group, which is You Can't Eat Love. And, you know, if people just want to reach out and ask a question, I'm happy to answer any questions. I will say, you know, you were commenting, you know, about making bad choices or whatever. One of the things that I did for my own self, as you mentioned, you know, what we're saying to ourselves, it needs to all be in harmony. I made the choice to not label anything that I was doing as being bad.
Yeah.
I make good choices, I make great choices, or I make not so good choices. Because, you know, when we start labeling things as bad or cheating or things like that, that sets off a whole nother avalanche of stuff. And you mentioned, you know, it's cold in the UK, and, you know, getting chilly to take a walk. I'll take your temperature. It's hot still here in Texas.
Whereabouts are you in Texas? I know quite a few people in Texas. You have crazy weather, haven't you? This year? You had all the power cuts, didn't you, at one point? Well, I know Texas is quite a big place. I think that was it. Was that in Dallas? I don't know. I can't remember, actually. I know.
Well, we had the big freeze back in February, and we had quite a good swath of the state lost power for quite a number of days. I am just west of Houston, just 30 miles west of downtown Houston, down I-10. But what I do is I say to myself, I am a person who does fill in the blank. So for the things that I don't like to do, for the things that I can find really easy excuses to get out of, I'll catch myself and say, I am a person who does blank. I don't put any time frames on it. I don't put any restrictions on it. So those days when I don't feel like going to the gym, I'll say, you know what? I'm a person who goes to the gym. And there've been a couple of times when I've gone to the gym for 15 minutes and then left again. But you know what? I am a person who goes to the gym. It doesn't say that I'm a person who goes to the gym and, you know, does all this stuff and spends 30 minutes there. So with regard to your walking and it being cold, just say to yourself, you know what? I'm a person who walks. And so walk out the door, turn around and walk back in, and celebrate the fact you are a person who walks.
I like that. I think that's a good share for everyone listening to this.
Well, what that does is it starts reinforcing that you are a person who does this. But then you celebrate the fact that you went outside, you turned around, you walked in, because you are a person who walks. So we celebrate that. Yes, look at me. I'm a person who does fill in the blank. And then the next time we have that niggling idea that maybe we're not going to do such and such, just say, no, wait. I am a person who does fill in the blank. It's like last week, I didn't want to clean the bathroom. I mean, I can't imagine anybody who loves cleaning a bathroom, not me. But it was a task that needed to be taken care of, and that, you know, it fell to me to take care of the task. So I said to myself, you are a person who cleans the bathroom. And I went, okay. So I went in there and I cleaned it really, really fast. Not one of my best cleaning jobs, but you know what? It got done. And I finished and I said, look at you. You're a person who cleans the bathroom. Amazing. Awesome. Okay, now we can move on and do something else that's even more fun. And just think about how that feels.
Yeah, I think that's really good, because when people are going through like a downtime, you know, whether it's, you know, they have got depression or, you know, maybe they've not been diagnosed, but they are going through a really, really low period. Because I remember a time where I was celebrating getting up and facing the day, you know. And it is kind of like focusing on those small wins and then growing those wins, isn't it? Because it's so easy to like pull the duvet over your head. You know, I remember kind of like dropping the boys off at school and then just coming back and pulling the duvet over my, not wanting to face the world, you know. And so just those sort of like daily routines and habits and things. Like you say, I like that phrase of I am a person who has a shower and gets up, you know, which I'm laughing at, but I think that people listening to this could probably really relate to it. So yeah, I really like those sort of affirmations, really. I think that's really good. So youcan'teatlove.com is that we'll put that all in the show notes, and we'll put it also in, if you're watching this on YouTube, we'll put it in the comments. You can reach out to Leslie that way, and it sounds like you can help people. I love the idea of the workbook as well. So you've got the book, the workbook, you can also get some coaching and have a look at Leslie's program as well. It's like you've got the whole package there for everybody, no matter, you know, where everybody's coming from, that can have some help and support depending on what's going on in their lives really right now, or even if they're just really interested in just reading the book, because I think everybody needs to have a bit more focus on loving ourselves, you know, which is something that I try and sort of empower a lot of women to do. So great stuff. So I always ask, is there anything, in fact, before we move on, I'm going to ask the question of what does freedom mean to you, but is there anything else that maybe you're doing in your business right now that you wanted to mention, or anything else that can help people? There's probably loads, but just before we finally round it up.
Well, today's Wednesday, starting tomorrow on the Facebook page, You Can't Eat Love, I will be going live on Thursdays, and then I'll be dropping some other stuff to help people figure out what their why is. Because, you know, we need to be really crystal clear on why we're doing anything. And the why doesn't involve another person, doesn't involve weight, doesn't involve a dress or an event. So I'm going to be diving really deep into helping people discover what their why is. So anybody wants to join me on Thursdays, join in.
Yeah, so we'll put your group details, Facebook group details as well in the show notes, so people can kind of reach out that way and get involved, because I think finding your why is really, really important, because it's what kind of makes us get up in the morning, isn't it, really? And do what we do and what we put out into the world. So that sounds absolutely fab. So freedom then, I love this question because I have, I don't know if you listened to the birthday episode where we chopped different people's answers to this. But what does freedom mean to you, Leslie?
Well, I had to think long and hard because I heard some of the other people's responses and I was like, okay, I got to up my game.
I love it.
So I said that freedom is accepting the only person I can do anything about is me. Releasing my expectation of being able to control anyone else or allowing anyone else to have control over me was so liberating. Eliminating the simple phrase of you, he or she made me sad was huge. What I mean by it is how many times we say, you made me sad, you made me mad. I eliminated that phrase from my vocabulary. Discovering the only thing anyone can make me is reservations for dinner was life-changing. Keeping my power.
Oh, love it. I think that's one of our, I don't want to say best, but that was really well thought. I love that one. I think that's brilliant. Really, really good. Because
well, thank you.
We've all got power inside of us, haven't we? We just need to kind of unlock it sometimes if it's hidden away. I think everybody has a purpose in this world. Everyone has something to give and something to do. And, you know, in the last sort of 18 months, 2 years, I think a lot of people have reflected because there's been a lot of uncertainty in the world and kind of made them reflect on what they really want to give out into the world and what they really want to do. So I think we've all got that power inside us to be able to do that. So,
well, and to understand that we have a choice. No one can make you mad. No one can make you sad. No one can even make you happy. We can choose. We can choose. So we can choose to do that. And that, for me, it was very liberating to understand I have the power to make a choice.
Exactly. And it's hard work, isn't it? Like you say, it's the easy option is to kind of, it's not the word excuse, but we've all done it where it's like, oh, well, you know, using a third person or a reason to not be able to do something, you know.
Exactly.
And I'm sure everyone can relate to that because we've all done it. And it's yeah, I just love that. I think it's brilliant. So great.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming on the show. Everybody go and check out You Can't Eat Love. I'm going to go and have a look at the book as well. And it's just, yeah, stay in touch, Leslie. It'd be good to carry on this connection. And if I can help you in any way, I will do. So great to have you. And bring us some of that nice warm weather.
Well, I'll trade. But thank you so much for letting me come on, and you keep doing what you do, because I know that there's so many people out there that you are helping, that you are encouraging to do what they need to do so they can live their best life. And I really appreciate you being brave enough to do it.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Thanks ever so much. Take care.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Your Freedom Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and subscribe on my YouTube channel. And if you want to get more freedom in your life, then come and join Your Freedom Project Facebook group, which the link is below in the comments section. And I am giving you a copy of my visualization manifesting book. So manifest more freedom in your life and live the life of your dreams.
Hey, thank you for listening. Hope you had a blast. Here to elevate your life. It's the Freedom Podcast. Love, money, mine. Love, money, mine. Wanna see you all win. Wanna see you all shine. Just make sure that you subscribe. Bringing good vibes. Join the Facebook group. Now it's time to change your life. Hope you come back. Right now is the chance. This is an experience. It's the Freedom Podcast.